Hello everyone, welcome to an overview of TrustLogix data security platform. Protecting data is fairly complex today. Enterprise data volume is constantly increasing, so does the number of data platforms. Data access is no longer by humans alone. We have AI apps, LLMs, and many other data sources requesting for data. So organizations are under constant pressure to deliver data quickly, but they also have to meet security and compliance. To meet security and compliance, they'll have to build access controls, data security visibility controls, and compliance controls. Access controls can be role or attribute based, which control access to data. And since every vendor has different implementation and access patterns, building access control can be cumbersome. Security visibility controls are needed for data security owners to indicate how access policies have worked and if sensitive data is exposed and leading to some form of a risk. While companies may have resources to write manual queries for handling all this type of controls, doing so on every access request means you deploy more resources to write these manual queries. Again, data is not constant, data volume keeps increasing as well as data consumers also keep changing, which means that there is a constant access and compliance refitting which leads to complex day-to-day operations. The two key personas who are responsible for these controls are data owners, who are responsible for implementing access controls and policies and provide access to data, data security owners who are accountable to manage security and lack visibility in terms of how access policies are working and if sensitive data exposure is posing any significant risk. Now, because they don't have a single tool to collaborate, they operate in silos and data approval gets delayed. The eventual impact is that data workers wait for many days to get data, impacting their productivity and eventually slowing down data projects. TrustLogix is a multi-cloud data security platform. We cover two key functionalities: data security posture management, which is the responsibility of data security owners. DSPM provides visibility into your sensitive data and any risk it poses. They can cover aspects such as who has access to sensitive data, how much of sensitive data is not being used, detect any data flow movement or exfiltration, identify ineffective access controls, and many other forms of risk. TrustLogix not only gives you visibility but also provides actionable recommendation as well as remediation for improving the data security posture. Data access control is the second functionality where TrustLogix provides fine-grained data protection through role-based access control, attribute-based access control, something that data teams are responsible for. Our unique differentiator is that we provide both data security posture as well as data access control in one single platform, so enterprises get fine-grained data access, but at the same time they have a continuous risk assessment. With that, let's get into a quick demo of how TrustLogix works. Once you log into TrustLogix, you get to see a dashboard which is typically used by data security folks to get an understanding of overall risks of your environment. What you are seeing here is something that would get built after a couple of weeks of setting up and securing your databases. The first step you do is setting up the data source. As you can see, TrustLogix supports a number of data platforms and sources. Once you register a data source, within a couple of hours, the dashboard gets populated. In the dashboard, you see various data risks such as dark data, data exfiltration, risk due to overly granted access, compliance, misconfiguration, and many other risks. Let's get into a Snowflake account that's already been configured. We see various types of risks being highlighted here. Let's get into an identity risk, which is a risk due to overly granted roles. As you can see here, we have a user Austin who has been granted an account admin role, but he has not been using it for the last 30 days. Account admin is a key role with a high privilege. You can also see the TrustLogix providing the corresponding recommendation. Most customers bring data for a particular project, and once the project is completed, the sensitive data stays on. We analyze such dark data and the risk they poses. As you can see here, we have a table which is classified as sensitive. It has a copy and the copied object has not been classified. You also have another example here where an unclassified data object has been detected as a dark data. TrustLogix also provides you the corresponding recommendation of classifying the data. One of the common questions customers ask us is who is accessing sensitive data and if they pose any type of data access risks. As you can see here, over a period of time, TrustLogix gives you that view and also indicates what are the queries the users are executing. Now, one of the biggest differentiator of TrustLogix is that we do not touch any of your data. We only look at your metadata and any data classification. You can also see the risk that the data access poses. For example, you have a column classified as sensitive but does not have a masking policy. Anyone with access to the table can access privacy information. TrustLogix helps you to also create a masking policy where you can choose an appropriate masking type as well as choose the role that would see the data unmasked. TrustLogix can also push the details into a ticketing system using ServiceNow or Jira for others to review. So with TrustLogix, you get a seamless and an easy way to maintain security posture. It not only provides you visibility and recommendation, but also helps with automated remediation. Now let's look into the access control functionality. TrustLogix provides access policies of various types, restricting access at row level, masking specific columns, as well as providing a template of built-in access policies that can be leveraged out of the box. Let's take an example of a row-based access policy wherein you can restrict access to specific rows. Typically, healthcare organizations would want to restrict access to PHI data, but the healthcare analyst in that region should be able to see the data for analysis. This is one such example, and you can also see that there is an AI generated summary for the policy that's been created. You can also view the grants and you can see that the policy that gets deployed natively. One of the differentiators of TrustLogix is that there is no additional metadata created. Once this policy is pushed, customers do not know that TrustLogix exists in runtime. Also, there is no code that needs to be created separately, and TrustLogix does this automation for you. You can also see the objects on which the policy is applied. Let's take another example of column masking based access policy. Now, a common use case in healthcare industry is where we mask the PHI data, specifically the diagnosis code. So we have chosen the diagnosis code and now we are masking that with a SHA-2 masking pattern. We can choose the user who would see the data unmasked. In our case, we enable admin to see the data. You can also create a nested condition. Let's go ahead and deploy the policy. Now let's look into another example of how you can leverage TrustLogix pre-built access templates. TrustLogix provides out-of-the-box templates such as data admin, analyst, engineer privileges that can be used to restrict access to specific roles. You can also create your own templates. TrustLogix makes it easier for data owners to quickly and easily create policies without needing to be an expert. Security personas get immediate visibility into any risky access activities and they can immediately remediate that with recommendations. All this means that your data workers now have very quick access to data. With improved productivity, your data projects are accelerated. Thank you for watching this demo. Register for a free 90-day data protection by visiting our free trial page.